The prayers that we use and the scripture, the Holy Scriptures that we use, have been a bone of contention in all major world religions for thousands of years. When I say a bone of contention, I mean in terms of the way in which those scriptures and holy words are interpreted and how we hear them. And we just had an experience of seeing one thing and hearing something different, and how the context really changes between the two. The Exodus reading from the Old Testament, from the Torah, from the Jewish scriptures, is one that reflects a God who's extraordinarily judgmental and a little temperamental, even. It was a God who was not very patient, and as the people of Israel had left the Promised Land, or left for the Promised Land, and they arrived in Mount Horeb, and that they felt as though they had been abandoned by their God, they decided to take it upon themselves and create their own golden images. And as such, God was a little bit upset by it and was going to smite them. And Moses talked God out of it. Now there's a God who I have, one you can negotiate with. I think all of us in our lives at some time or another have attempted to negotiate with God. That if I just do this, I promise, if you just do this, so God, I promise for the rest of my life I will be good. Or I will say my prayers, or I will give alms, or I will do whatever we might so choose. That's not the God that I have come to know in my own experience. That a judgmental, impatient, punitive God is not, for me, my God. And the reading from the Christian Gospel from Matthew was written by a person who was seeking to offer a message to a particular group of people, primarily Jewish people. And likewise, it was the image, the metaphor of the king was one in which the king was a judgmental God who was going to really give it to those who weren't faithful or weren't behaving like they should. And it is that kind of attitude that has been pervasive in the role and place of religions throughout the world from the beginning of time. That religions have taken it upon themselves to interpret their scriptures and their tenets and their doctrines and their dogmas in a manner that is often divisive and exclusive and militant and damaging. And as I think we all know, that religion has had at its feet more blood spilled than for any other reason over the course of human history. We go back to the beginning of the relationship between the Jewish people and the Assyrians and the Babylonians, and we go out through the course of history, through the Christian Crusades, when the Western Crusaders went to the Middle East to do away with the pagans and the heathen and to Christianize the entire world. The pogroms that have existed throughout the course of time. The history of the Holocaust and the Second World War. And on, the Spanish Inquisition, and on we go. To this very day in which we are living in a society that is anti-Semitic, Islamophobic, fearful of the other. And there is a more and more pervasive attitude that seems to be permeating our Western culture, where people who are different than us are being excluded and marginalized. Yet we are here today to celebrate ourselves as people who have come from the commonplace. We are all Semitic people. We all share a common ancestry. And I want to share with you some of those things that bind us together as people of God. We as Semitic people, Christians, Muslims, Jewish people. We share the reason we are called Semitics is because we all originated from the Middle East, and each one acknowledges that Abraham is at our core. Abraham is the prophet that binds us together. Judaism, which originated in Mesopotamia around 2,000 years before BCE, is the oldest of the three. Christianity came next. Islam followed in the 7th century, founded by the Prophet Muhammad. All three of our religions are monotheistic, that there is one God, one Creator, one divinity that we all offer our prayers to and give thanks for the blessing of life for. The name Semitic denotes, as I say, that mainly the Jews and the Arabs who belong to the Middle East area. All three of our religions share the common concept of God, who is called Jehovah or Yahweh in Judaism, God in Christianity, or other personifications, and Allah in Islam. All coming because different words because they come from different languages, all expressing the same divine heart. And according to Judaism, there is one eternal God who revealed God's will to the Israelites in the Torah, of which the Ten Commandments is the most important, common to both Judaism and Christianity. And in Christianity, God heads the Trinity of the Creator, Redeemer, and Sanctifier. And in the Torah, Judaism, and the Bible in Christianity, the same sacred book of the Muslims is called the Quran, which was revealed to the Prophet Muhammad in Arabic. Jews and Christians and Muslims are in agreement that God is one and the living, merciful, and omnipotent Creator of the universe. God is love. And all three of the sacred texts, that is at the core of who we are as people of Islam, Judaism, and Christianity. In our sacred texts, we hear to love God with your heart, soul, body, mind, and strength, and to love your neighbor as yourself. That is the core of who we are as Christians, Muslims, and Jews. God is love. In Christianity, we believe in the concept of resurrection. That Muslim people do believe that Jesus was an important prophet and that when Jesus was crucified, Jesus immediately ascended into heaven. Muhammad is the greater of the prophets of Islam. Jewish people acknowledge the presence of the person of Jesus, but not as the Messiah, and yet await the messianic return. All three religions await the advent of the messianic figure that will come to restore our humanity to the created universe of the divine. All three of our major religions believe in the salvation of our souls through faithfulness, through prayer, through worship, and through doing good works and loving your neighbors. There is more that we share than divides. We are called upon, as people of all faiths, when we hear those moments of anti-Semitism, of Islamophobia, of othering other people, of marginalizing, denigrating, and diminishing, we are called as people of faith to remind everyone that we each share the spark and the Spirit of God. We are one. We are Semitics. And we are here united to celebrate our common love for each other and the God who gave us life. Thank you be to God. Amen.